Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 15th, 2026. Boy, am I glad that we're out of the country club because um, being everybody being in the country club and everything happening in the country club kind of made it very difficult for me to take my notes to do the recap. So I was winging it a lot last week. Whew, I have succinct notes that make sense this time. So anyway, we started this episode with Joey and Vanessa, and they're back at his penthouse, and she Vanessa is trying frantically to reach her children, but the phones are still down. So he's like trying to distract her or whatever the case may be, and she's like, I can't really be distracted even though my kids are, there's tension with me and my children right now. I'm not going to feel good until I hear my children's voice, because as a parent, that's someone you love more than anything. It's like literally like your heart beating outside of your heart, outside of your chest. She's telling him all of that, and he's like, well, if you feel, if loving your kids is like that, I can't imagine loving someone more than I love you. I don't like Joey. Like, he has some all right qualities, but everything is an ulterior motive. And I don't like him because I feel like at this point, he is low key trying to do like some reverse psychology alienation of Vanessa away from her kids, because her kids don't like her. So he's just trying to like dry manipulate her to accepting what is going on between those relationships, so that she won't keep trying to fight for it, so that he can have her all to herself. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit, but it's good enough for Vanessa because yeah. So anyway, she finally gets a hold of Deanna, and then Deanna is like, Mom, I thought about, everything that's been going on, and nothing really matters. Only thing that really matters is what's left of our family, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, yada yada yada. And so she is talking to her mom, apologizing for that. And then Joey comes up in the background because he's running Vanessa a bath, and he says something in the background, and Deanna's like, "Oh, you was really worried about me. You over there with him." That's the same thing I'm about to say about Nicole, because we see her kicking it with Kyle later on this week, and I'm just like, um, your son has a concussion, and your daughter is traumatized. But yeah, let's go have sex with Kyle. I digress though. I don't know. And yeah, granted, Nicole may not know about Kyle. I mean, excuse me, may not know that Kat is traumatized, but why doesn't she know? I'm just saying. So then we have Martin and Smitty, he collapsed. And so Shanice and Ashley come over and they help him, you know, get to the paramedics. And then Jacob runs out and he tells, was it Jacob? No, it was Shanice. Shanice runs out and tells Nicole, about Martin and that he's going to the hospital. And then she goes to Martin's house because the kids are home. Remember, they didn't come to the fundraiser. And so the kids are at home and they're upset because, the tornado has happened. They don't have access to the phone. They're at home in the dark and they don't know what's going on. So they're at home and they're kind of upset or whatever. And so Nicole comes over and she tells them what happens, and she ends up taking them to the hospital. And, she had given Chelsea the key to her office so that Chelsea can go to the hospital and wait for Madison there, because she needed to lay eyes on Madison and make sure Madison was good. So she gave her the key to her office so that she can go wait for Madison in her office. And then Smitty went to Nicole's office with Chelsea. So they're there waiting for word. And, Kat goes to the hospital and she is asked, first of all, let's start with Leslie never ceases to find a moment to put on. Like, I get so sick and tired of her. I'm not saying that she's not upset that her daughter is injured. I'm not saying that at all. But this is also a way for her to try and get her hooks into Ted. Like, use this because she's not above using her daughter to getting hurt, to use that to get her hooks into Ted. That's just the truth of the matter. That's the kind of human being we're dealing with. So she is all falling all out and upset or whatever. And so Kat comes and she's like, "How is she?" And she starts going off on Kat. By this time, Ted has gone away to, check on things. And then there is Isaiah and Leslie standing up there. She goes off on Kat, goes off on Thomas. Then when Isaiah says, Eva wouldn't want this, she goes off on Isaiah. And so then and then she starts going in on Kat again. So then Ted is like, "Yeah, you need to stop. You're not going to blame my daughter, because Kat is, just trying to help." And so she's like, "I'm scared," and all this stuff. Miss me with that, because I'm sure that Laura's parents were scared when when you attempted to murder Laura 2 times. Miss me with all that. I don't have no sympathy for you, Leslie. I'm sorry, because Laura is somebody's family. Someone loves Laura, someone cares about Laura, but her life was so insignificant to you because of what you wanted, because you wanted Ted. That's all she did it for, because she wanted Ted. Not I'm not saying there's a noble reason for attempting to murder someone, but she had no good reason to attempt to murder Laura, who had nothing to do with the situation at all. So yeah, miss me with all the tears and the hysterics. I have nothing for you. So then she's all like, "I'm scared and I can't do anything but sit here." And so then Kat goes sit beside her and tell her, "Then we'll sit together." Girl, Kat, go home and wash the dust off of you, because she ain't worth it. But anyway, so then, Vernon and Anita, they go home, and they are not aware of everything that's going on, because they left before Nicole got the word about Martin. And then the phone lines were down as well. So, by the time they get word about Martin, Nicole is at the hospital. And so she rushes to go be with her son. And, Chelsea gives him the rundown. And when Grant said, he said, like, "Talk to me, child," I was weak. I said, "Yes, Mr. Dupree." I love Anita and Vernon so much. But yeah, so they, see that their family can handle things without them, because nobody reached to call them. They were handling business on their own. So they like that, but they also want to be kept in the loop at all times. They don't play about that. So it turns out that Eva needs a transplant. And so um, Ted and Leslie are going to get tested. And, you know, Naomi comes to the hospital, and, she's hugging Isaiah, trying to make him feel better. Then Kat and Chelsea have a moment, because Chelsea, knows what happens now. And so she, wants to make sure Kat is all right. And she tells her, "I was so annoyed with her, and, I was not nice to her. If I would have known all of this was going to happen, I would have been nicer to her in the elevator. I mean, in the room. And I really don't want her to die. Like, I never wanted for this to happen." And that's just being an empathetic person. That doesn't mean that Kat likes her or should like her, but that's just being an empathetic human being. Of course, she doesn't want to see someone die, but it's still also a lot to ask someone to give you an organ. I am an organ donor in the case that something happens to me and I'm brain dead and my organs are viable. But for me, and I've actually been in this situation, the idea of giving an organ is a lot, and it's a lot to consider. But that was Beyond the Gates for today. I think I'm going live with Beyond the Gates tomorrow. Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 16th, 2026. So we start this episode at the hotel because Bill and Haley are checking in because there is a tree that is obstructing their entry to their home because of the tornado. So they have to spend the night at the hotel till they can get someone, I guess, in the morning to get the tree removed. So they go there, and Bill is such a liar, and he's such a skilled liar. He has no remorse for what he has done. And I'm not giving Danny any passes because I'm through with my sis. I'm like so heated with her right now. Like, I don't even want you to talk. Shut up, Danny. But at the same time, she does have guilt and remorse for what she has done to Andre. He has no guilt, no remorse, or anything. He's just sitting here talking like he just didn't do his ex wife in the elevator during the storm. So he's making jokes about her with Kyle, talking about, you know, were you with him and blah, blah, blah. Oh, I know you weren't with him. Oh, you just know, right? You just know while you was up there in the elevator with your ex-wife, but you just know Haley wouldn't do you like that. And you know what? You know what? I used to say that I did not want Haley to be successful in killing Bill. But you know what? Do your worst, Haley, because the way he sat in Haley's face and played with her like it was nothing, like it was a day that ends in Y. Like if I had not have seen what happened between him and Danny between with my own eyes, I would have been questioning it myself because of the way that he acted like nothing happened. Absolutely nothing. He has no remorse. Meanwhile, Danny is feeling very guilty, and Andre is like loading on the platitudes. He's like, baby, I care about you so much. I was so worried, and I can only imagine how scared you were. He's just going on and 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 on. He's just going on and on about, Danny and how, she's taking such good care of him. She's like, Andre, I'm just doing what any regular wife would do. She trying to like she don't want him laying it on thick because she's guilty. So she gives him pain medicine or whatever, and he goes to sleep on the sofa, and she goes and sneaks outside to call Vanessa. She can't really call Nicole. I thought about it in this instance because Nicole would probably be the better voice of reason and everything through this, but she can't really call Nicole because Nicole told her not to play with her nephew. And what did she do? Play with her nephew. And so she calls Vanessa, who don't know right from wrong, if it was standing in front of her labeled. And Vanessa comes over and she's telling Vanessa, about what happened. And, this would have been different in the beginning when we were just casual, but we're committed now. And I've done this. And Danny comes to the decision that she isn't going to tell Andre. And but I don't know how Danny deals with the guilt either because she is guilty and it's clear. And then we also have the loose cannon Bill. Bill won't hesitate to make it be known that he slept with her. He wants Andre to know. So yeah, there's that. She said that she told Vanessa that she's going to go talk to Bill to make sure that he doesn't say anything. We see on the spoilers for this week that she is one of these days going to confront him. So, yeah. But I think that's just too little too late as well. And I'm kind of torn. I don't think that she should tell him because that's just her way of assuaging her guilt. But at the same time, honesty is their thing. You shouldn't have never did it. But one thing I can say is that she did take accountability because she said something very, very true. And I appreciate her saying that, even though I haven't forgiven you for what you've done, Danny. But I did appreciate her saying, I made a choice. Yes, stop saying that it just happened, one thing led to it. No, you made a choice. You had every ability to turn away at any moment, and you did not. You made a choice to sleep with Bill. Now you must deal with those consequences, be they internal or external. Meanwhile, we got Joey and Vanessa. Vanessa's talking to Donnell about, Deanna or whatever. And she's telling him she doesn't want him to play mediator. And then, Joey's telling her, you could, you know, just get over it. Or I don't know what he was saying, but I just get tired of Vanessa, Joey, and her choosing Joey over everybody. Because she goes over to Danny's house. She listens to Danny real quick and then gotta go because I gotta get back to Joey. Like I said, I was live today during the episode. I was like, oh, 5 minutes and I gotta go get back to Joey. That's Vanessa. And so while she was gone to Danny, his sister comes and she's leaving town. I absolutely positively do not believe she's leaving town. And if she is leaving town, she'll be back soon. I don't trust Heather. She may even be a little bit more sinister than Joey. Women typically are because you don't see them coming. So there's that. But anyway, then we have Smitty and Martin. And if I never see Martin again, that it'll be too soon. So Smitty and Martin are in the hospital room. Smitty's on the phone with Nicole. Nicole's trying to, tell Martin to chill or whatever. And so she was like, well, Madison gave me strict instructions on how to take care of Martin. Everything's going to be fine. So they leave so that Ted can lay eyes on Martin himself and then they can go home. Well, they get downstairs and they see Ted and Cat hugged up and they're like, what's going on? So they told him about Eva and, that she needs the liver, and Ted and Leslie have gotten tested. The doctor comes and says Ted is not a match. So then, Martin's like, oh, I'll get tested or whatever. By the way, while I was on live, I looked it up. He can't donate while he's on concussion protocol. I looked it up, but I digress. Anyway, so he's like, I'm going to get tested or whatever. So anyway, Smitty goes back to get tested, goes back with him so he can get tested. But then, Martin asks him to leave. So he goes to sit with Kat. And Kat's like, I don't know if I can do that. And it's not, like I said during the live, I said yesterday, it's nothing to do with Kat not wanting to help Eva. Kat has her own reservations and things that she's going through with medical procedures. I actually think she has a fear. So she tells this to Smitty. So then Martin comes back. They go in, they tell Leslie and Isaiah and Ted that Leslie's not a match either. Leslie's upset. Isaiah leaves the room and he's like, he tells them, and Martin's like, well, Cat, go get tested. Like, far gone, oh, you're going to go get tested. Like, not asking, telling her. It's kind of crazy. And she's like, frozen. And then he goes off on her and says some of the most vile, disgusting things that he could say. Like, tell me what you really think about your sister. Like, he don't ever got to talk to Kat again. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have anything for Martin. And then she tells him, you just want to assume the worst about me. You can't even fathom that I have my own concerns. And she has the right to say yes or no. I'm so sick of Martin. it's a wrap. I don't know Martin, but that was Beyond the Gates. Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 16th, 2026. So we start this episode at the hospital because, as we know, Eva's in the hospital and she needs a liver transplant. And yesterday we found out that neither Ted or Leslie were a match, and that Andre can't donate because he of the meds he's on because of his leg, and Isaiah he can't because he's not even the correct blood type. So we also know that Smitty and Martin have got tested, and yesterday Martin blew up on Kat because she actually didn't say no yesterday. She's just like shocked and frozen. Um, but he blew up on her because she wasn't gung ho to go get tested for Eva or whatever. And so, you know, a lot is going on. Ted and Leslie are at Eva's bedside, and they're talking. Shanice comes in and she tells Ted that he's needed because while they're all out in the lobby, they all being um, Isaiah, Smitty, and Martin, while they're in the lobby, the doctor comes, to give them their results, Smitty and Martin, that is. And so Shanice is out there as well. And so she goes into the room with Ted and Leslie and Eva, and she is coming to do her rounds on Eva, and she tells Ted that he's needed. So Ted leaves the room, and Shanice, gives her a bag of clothes, which she has like scrubs and undershirt and everything that she had in her locker, because she's still in her gown from the fundraiser. So she gives her the clothes, being a decent human being. And for someone who is completely ungrateful and not deserving, because even Leslie tried it a bit when, you know, um, Shanice did that. She's like, oh, you trying to get in good with Ted? And she's like, getting good with Ted? I already have him. Like, what don't you understand? Like, she is so, everything about her, like, irritates my soul. And I'm sorry. But anyway, so, she's asking her, how long does she have until she, like, needs the liver. And she's like, I really don't have, an answer for you. You can ask your doctor. She's like, your face said it when you came through the room. So they're talking. And, Shanice kind of puts her in her place, letting her know, look, I'm here on Team Eva because, no parent deserves to be here with their child like this or whatever, whatever. So, Shanice being a decent human being and then, you know, calm, um, Leslie calmed down a little bit, I guess. So anyway, went back in the lobby, Martin and Smitty tell Ted that, they aren't a match. And Isaiah had gone to speak with Kat. And so he's trying to speak with Kat, trying to convince her to get tested for Eva. And she's like, I can't, she's Kat is going through it all because a lot of things are at play with the situation. The fact that she and Eva have a tenuous relationship is a factor. Then there's the factor of the medical concerns for Kat. And no one is giving a care about Kat, and that's not fair and it's not okay. And yes, I am getting angry, but it's because I can relate to this story in a certain way. So I understand completely how Kat feels, and it's not fair that everyone, including Isaiah and her own brother, want to shame her into trying to give an organ. And let's not forget how not only is it just horrible that you're going to try and shame her into it, it's unethical because no one can force you, bribe you, or do any of that to make you give an organ. Actually, the donation board kind of like disapproves of that. It's so unethical for you to do that. And it's like, and Kat, eventually says to her dad, because she gets into it with Isaiah, who tries to make it like she's doing this out of revenge. And she says, I'm not doing this out of revenge. But you also have to think about the testing that I will have to go through. It's not just one test. Because I take the test, I find out of a match. Then I have to go take other tests. Then I have to have a surgery. And the recovery from a liver transplant is brutal on the transplantee, because into you're going into a um hold on. So no one's considering any of that for Kat. It's just like, oh well, get over it. Go give her a piece of your liver. And that's rude, and that is so, and I understand, because she tells Ted at one point when they have their conversation that she feels like she's just the body that they're using for spare parts. And that's what they're treating her like. They're not giving her the autonomy over her own body to be able to make the decision. They're telling her, go do it. And so Ted, he pissed me off the most, because he goes in and he's playing the good cop. He's trying to be kind about it. And he's like, oh, baby. He's holding her. And then she asks, did you come here for me or did you come here for Eva? And he's like, oh, both. And he's like talking to her and telling her how she's his heart and his soul and blah, blah, blah. And I love both my daughters. And then at the end of it, yeah, go do it. And then at one point, he was like, well, do you want me to call your mother? And this is what broke my heart. Kat said no, because she doesn't need another person pressuring her. And she said, Martin is pressuring me. She said, Isaiah is pressuring me. You are pressuring me. You may not have come in hot and angry like everyone else, but you are still pressuring me. You're coming in being nice, but the ask is still there. So it is pressure. And I was just like, oh, that that was a lot, because like, yeah, it's still pressure. And then he continues with the pressure, even though she's told you how she feels pressured. He told her when she decides to leave and says she doesn't want to be a match, he said, please, Kat, please do it for me. If that's not emotional manipulation, I don't know what is. And who is there for Kat to hear what she's saying and to validate her feelings, because her feelings are very valid. Let's move on, because I'm emotional and it's not going to change. Um, then we have Ashley and Jan. Jan is at Ashley's house when she comes back to the hospital. And why is Ashley still on? Why is she still crying about Derek? And why is her mother not forcing, why is her mother encouraging her to talk to Grayson? Whatevs. I'm tired of seeing it. And I thought we said that the widow, not widow, Ashley, um we were she was out of time with her grief. And then we have Nicole talking about some Kat is fine, everybody else is fine besides Martin and Andre, everybody is fine. Kat is not fine. She said everyone is safe. Kat is not safe. Kat does not have a safe space at the moment, and she has no one to talk to, and she has no one that is even trying to understand where she's coming from. Kat is so far from safe, you don't even know it, and your daughter doesn't even trust that you would be on her side, because she told Ted she doesn't want another person pressuring her. She doesn't even believe her mom, her own mother, would have her back. But yeah, that was Beyond the Gates for today. Let me know down in the comments, do you see what Kat is saying and where she's coming from? I'll be back tomorrow. Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 18th, 2026. So, we start this episode with Leslie and Shanice. Leslie is still at Eva's bedside, and she's talking to Shanice, and she's asking Shanice if Ted has found Kat the brat. And I hate when she calls her that. I would not, I don't know how Kat is supposed to give Eva a piece of her liver. And I want to tell you why. Because that, so she's supposed to go under the knife, give her a piece of her liver, and still be verbally abused and assaulted by both Leslie and Eva. Because please believe me, they're not going to stop. So, like, so she's supposed to just take it when she's the innocent party in all of this, because her and Nicole and Martin had nothing to do with what had happened with her and Ted. And we see today Ted apologizes for how he reacted back then. So he's the one that reacted badly, and then Nicole and Kat are the ones that have to just sit around and take it. It's so ridiculous to me, and I don't like it. And it's not right to say, oh, yeah, I know these people treat you like SHIT, but you still should do the right thing and give her a liver. And who said giving her a liver, is the right thing? Because not doing it, not putting that on yourself isn't wrong. It's not wrong. It's my body, my choice, and I don't have to do it if I don't want it. And it does not make me a bad person if I don't do it. Sorry, on my soapbox yet again. But anyway, so then we have Isaiah and Ted. They're in the chairs and they're talking. And here comes Isaiah, still bashing Kat. And guess what? Her no good Pappy sat up there and let him do it. Then we have Chelsea meeting with Kat at Orphe Jeans. She brings Kat some clothes to change into. And, they're talking. And Chelsea got on my nerves too, because Chelsea is always, I want to see those people, everyone that says that Kat should just put aside everything that Eva did to you. And it's not about holding her accountable or not giving her the liver because of what she did and trying to get retribution. It's not about that. It's about, I'm giving my liver, a piece of my liver, going under the knife and dealing with all the recovery and all of that for somebody who would leave me to die. Because, like she told her mom, Eva told me that she wouldn't help me. She said one day I was going to need her and she wouldn't help me. And mom said, oh, well, if she meant it, she said she did. Like, everybody is disillusioned by Eva, and I don't get why. Why is nobody hip to, as good as Kat gives, Eva gives it back? It's not like Eva is some innocent, fragile being who don't know how to hold her own. Stop acting like that. It's not all Kat. The feeling is very mutual, and she wouldn't care if Kat lived or died. And guess what? If her mother said let Kat die, guess what? Eva would let Kat die. And I was watching a video on TikTok earlier, and they talked about how they had it in for Kat even before they met Kat. They were talking trash about Kat even before they met Kat in the beginning episodes. Did y'all forget that? I never forgot, but no one ever points it out. But yeah, did y'all forget that? But yeah, go ahead, Kat. Go lay on the table and give them a piece of your liver. Anyway, so Chelsea is talking to Kat and trying to convince her to do it. And then Kat says she's tired and she just wished that she could talk to someone that understood the risk and that had her best interest in mind and not just Eva. And that's true because no one has had Kat's best interest, not even her no good, sorry ass daddy. I'm sorry, mommy. I know you said don't curse, but you don't have to forgive me this one. So, yeah, I just, yeah. So she takes her to Nicole, and immediately I'm like, Nicole, that's the last place you should take her because Nicole not gonna support her. So Nicole, they end up telling Nicole what happened. Before Nicole gets to know what happened, she was there having breakfast with Kyle. She was worried that the kids were still there, but Smitty had came and picked up the kids already. And so they have breakfast together. And then when he leaves to go to work, Carlton calls and was like, have you talked to Ted? And he's been at the hospital all night. I think he could use a friend. So Nicole gets dressed, but before she can leave out, Kat and Chelsea walk through the door. And so they tell her, about what's going on. And then Kat is like, I already know that I'm evil, blah, blah, blah. She's expecting her mom to mirror everything that everyone else has already said. And her mother says, oh, baby, no. Like, I was surprised because Kat support is not necessarily Nicole's thing, but I was pleasantly surprised by Nicole. So they, she tells her, and Chelsea goes into the kitchen and she talks to her, and she, like I said, she tells her, if it was me, Eva wouldn't do it either, you know, and she's like, and why is it all on me? And she's just talking to her mom, and her mom's like, yeah, I understand. I told Leslie off yesterday and I feel bad about it, but that doesn't make me a bad person and make Leslie a good one. And that's for darn sure. And she tells her, you said that you and Eva aren't the same. So don't you want to prove that by being wrong? I mean, doing the opposite or going with your heart. She didn't tell her to give the liver. She said, do it with your heart. And she's like, oh, you're telling me to do it. And she's like, no, I'm telling you to, the choice is yours. This is yours. And if you need more time to take the choice, to make the choice, then do the test and give yourself the option, when it's time. So, meanwhile, back at the hospital, like I said, oh, then Andre, let me start with Andre. I'm glad Danny cheated on you because I cannot believe how he spoke about Kat today. Like, y'all just really want to label that girl so bad, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But anyway, they go to the hospital, and Ted's up there. Oh, Leslie and Shanice in the background, looking at him booed up with his woman. Anyway, so then Kat, Chelsea, and Nicole get off the elevator, and he's like, baby, shut up, Ted. And she said, I'm here to be tested. Shanice takes her back, and then he's thanking Nicole, whatever you said to her. She said, I didn't say anything to her. This was her choice. And then Chelsea told Isaiah, like, don't get too happy because she has not decided to give the liver. She's just getting tested. And then Leslie's like, well, she'll decide to do the right thing when she finds out that she's a match. And then she was like, if she's a match. Chelsea, you pissed me off, but that was cute. And then Leslie and Ted, they up there hugging, and Nicole looking at them like, if it was me, don't pressure my child. And y'all sat here and pressured my child and made my child feel bad all night. We about to square up. But anyway, then we have Danny and Bill and their conversation. And Bill liked to play games. And Danny shouldn't have never even went over there to talk to him again. And I don't believe he's going to keep that promise that he made to Danny not to say anything. But yeah, that was Beyond the Gates for today. I'll be back tomorrow so that we can round out this week. Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 19th, 2026. So we start this episode with Leslie and, well, the Grands, and they are realizing that, the construction on Leslie's house is about to start back up. And then while they're talking about that, Danny comes over and tells them, well, the last thing Leslie is probably worried about right now is that house being built because Eva was hurt and she needs a liver transplant, and they haven't found a donor, and they're waiting to see if Kat is a donor. And so Gran is the of course her first thought is Kat, and what being a donor entails for what it entails from the donor. I don't think anyone sees Kat except for Anita and Nicole, which is surprising because we don't ever get to see Nicole be maternal or motherly or supportive towards Kat. So to see her do so in this moment, I am so happy. It's such a breath of fresh air. Only Nicole and Gran, and even Vernon, he got it because you know he was like, he even, when Kat arrived or whatever, he knows what this is for Kat. So like, other than her grandparents and her mom, no one is seeing Kat. They're literally seeing Kat as a means to an end, and I don't like that, and that's horrible. And that's the issue that I've been having all week, because they're not seeing Kat as a human being. They're saying, yeah, Eva needs, no one's saying Eva doesn't need it and that, this isn't dire. But Kat is not just an organ. She is a human being. She's a person with autonomy. She's a person with her own feelings and fears. Like, no one acknowledges that but her mom. And so it was good to see, the Grands, all, you know, have Kat's well being in their mind, because not even her father is considering her well being. And I saw the spoilers for next week, and I want to fight everyone. And just know that I will be calling names next week. So, Kat goes over. Well, also, we have Ted and Leslie. They're at the hospital, and, she's upset. And they start talking about, Kat giving the organ or whatever. And, she took, Leslie started talking about how she took so long to even get tested. And if something happens to Eva, and then Ted act like he want to protect Kat. It's too little too late. You can never say Kat's name again, and I would be fine, because you already made your decision. And it's not about him choosing Eva over Kat. It's about you not even caring about your daughter and her well being, to even let her process what she is being asked to do. Just do it now and think about the rest later. And that's not fair to Kat. Yeah, I understand Eva's in a dire situation, and I'm not saying that she deserves it. I probably am saying that. But I'm not saying that she does. But at Kat's expense, you know? But anyway, so she's saying, um, saying all of this, and Ted's kind of trying to put her in his place, but he ain't got no bass in his voice. He don't really mean it. He's just saying what he think he's supposed to say. But anyway, so um Nicole is out there, and then here comes stupid Martin talking about, oh, I'm glad Kat finally did it, and she got to do the right thing. And then Nicole, thank goodness for Nicole, and that Nicole um Thank goodness for Nicole being a mother. She was being a mother these last two episodes, and I appreciate it because she told him she don't have to give the organ. Like, that is her choice. She gets to make whatever choice is best for her. Like, she don't have to give the organ, and it don't make her a bad person. Like, y'all gonna stop with that. Like, people that don't want to give an organ, they're not bad people, because we're gonna see next week what the donors have to go through. So, you know, Kat, I like how Nicole was stepping up for her daughter. Because then here comes Ted, and he's like, "Where's Kat? She's not in the lab." She said, "Well, obviously she needed some space." And he's like, "Well, I need to call her. I need to talk to her." She said, "No, you don't. Don't call her. Give her the space that she's asking for." Thank you. Somebody looking out for Kat's best interest. Chelsea, you ate that one little thing, because I didn't know if Nicole had it in her, but she's showing up. She's stepping up as a mother, and I appreciate it. And so, everybody is around talking. Isaiah still has Venom for Cat. And anyway, his parents come down to the hospital with Jacob or whatever. And, his mom goes and has an exchange with Leslie. And then, he has beef with his dad. And I kind of see him as the problem with his dad, because his dad was trying to be there for him, but he's still like, he's not accepting of the gesture. So, like, if I can't please you, like, what am I even here for? Because, like, I'm sick of kids talking crazy to their parents today, unless it's Cat, because Cat need to talk crazy to Ted. Because what do you mean you're pressuring me as a physician? You're pressuring me to donate an organ. Oh, okay, yeah. But anyway, so um we have that, and then Kat is off at the atrium with Tomas, and he's trying to make her feel better because she hasn't slept and she's stressed. And so he's trying to make her feel better. He's telling her maybe she won't be a match. Then, they're talking true crime and, distracting her. And she has a moment to just breathe and take a breath, which I think was needed. And let's please know, I am not a Tomas fan. Like, if he got hit by a bus today, I'll be glad. My baby will be hurt, but I'll be glad. I would be glad about him getting hit by a bus. Like, I don't like Tomas, but I do like that he was a distraction, and he was there to just even take her mind off of things for a little while, because no one else did that. He didn't pressure her, and I appreciate that. I have to give credit where credit is due, and Tomas earned that today. And so then after she leaves Tomas, she goes to her grandma, because when she's with Tomas, she gets the call that she's a match. So then she goes to her grandmother, and she's with her Aunt Danny, and her Danny is comforting her and all of that. She tells them that she's a match, and she asks to speak with her grandmother alone. And so she's telling her grandmother, and her grandmother's like, "You just got to do it, because you wouldn't be able to live with knowing that you could have helped her and not." I could have lived with it, but I digress. I mean, I am in a way living with it. Well, I don't. Let me just say, I don't know that I would have been a match in the situation that I was in. So I can't say that I'm living with it, but I don't feel bad for not having gotten tested or anything. I sleep well at night. But so meanwhile, back at the hospital, they say they got a donor on the registry. However, they end up giving the liver to someone else. So Leslie is flipping out, but then Kat comes and says that she will do it. When she gets off the elevator, everybody is bombarding her, and Nicole has to control the situation. She goes and tells Ted and Leslie. Leslie is hugging on her, and she's very uncomfortable. And before she gets Will back, she tells Ted that she's doing it for him. So now all of this is going to lay at his feet next week. Have a great weekend, and we'll pick this up.